Good evening to everybody. I'm Unmesh Dikshit on behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association, welcoming you all. As a part of a series of celebrating or organizing various programs related to women's and Women's Day celebration, we have about 20 programs, MDP or the open forums, out of which this is the second one. We had a export import for women today afternoon, and now this is the second program. So especially two female speakers are there to share their success story. You all must be aware about Ahmedabad Management Association, and I am very much happy that I am getting associated as AMA with Jatin and Kumar. They have been friends since many years, and with Each Eye, Communicate Karo and AMA, we are organizing this jointly, and this association would, as Ahmedabad Next is our identity, about every month, as I spoke to Jatin and Kumar, that about once a month at least we will try to bring out some different topics, some relevant topics, some industry specific topics, and share with you for all youngsters especially and all whoever are interested. So thank you very much, Jatin and Kumar, and all platform is yours. And on behalf of AMA, I will welcome Jatin, and then Jatin will take it forward with all the guests. Thank you everybody. Thank you both the speakers. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Unmesh bhai. We'll just get started. So by 6:30 it looks like this. By the time we get to 7, pura hall bhar jayega. But so at Each Eye we started hosting lot of these meetups on time since last 2-3 years. But AMA is at the forefront of starting things on time. And we launched our Each Eye chapter in 2010. So after 13 years, it's like a homecoming for us for organizing this Each Eye forum with AMA this time now. We'll just get started with our session, but I'll also welcome our speakers. So Jyoti, she is the co-founder of Invent India and the chief strategist of On to Cook, Life Coach, and a lot of other organizations that she is part of. And we have Nikita Maheshwari with us also, the co-founder of Tatkal Lorry. And earlier ties with that. Okay, so before, so we'll just get started. So one of the things we do when we do these forums is to understand participants also. So you want to do 2 introductions from this side and 2 introductions from this side. So this is a risky business because this is not pre-planned. so whoever is speaking will speak with little more energy. So we'll have 1 or 2 people from introducing themselves. Ma'am, if you can introduce yourself. Yes, and louder. Okay, and thank you so much. Ma'am, your introduction? Brief about you.
Yeah.
Acha.
Hey everyone, I'm Jaideep Gajjar. I'm co-founder of Tacit Code and I'm providing web hosting, web services also.
Okay, that's it. And ma'am, your introduction. And then 1 person from this side.
Hello everyone, my name is Khushbu Raina and I'm HR manager working in the IT domain from last more than 10 plus years. So looking forward for an exciting session here.
Okay, awesome. And Viraj, you want to introduce yourself?
Good evening everyone, myself Viraj Rajani. I run a startup called Digipal where we provide digital marketing, branding and advertising services. Also we recently launched our Digipal Studio where we provide video production and product photography to corporates and e-commerce businesses. Thank you Jatin bhai.
Awesome, thank you so much everyone. You can bring the mic here. Yeah. Okay, just we'll get started with our discussion. So when we do this panel, so today's theme is business growth stories. So we have 2 awesome founders who have scaled up their businesses and they've been mentoring a lot of other founders also. So we'll try to understand their journey and what has been their learning, and if they were to start again, how would they approach and what would be their advice for early stage founders who will be starting up now. So we'll just get started. So Jyoti, so you have multiple businesses, like Invent India, On to Cook. So can you give us a little more structured understanding that, how much your time goes in managing this initiative, so people will get more context about where you are coming from?
So I think my first comment is that scale and growth is a journey. and we are still scaling and we are still growing, and I think it will remain a lifelong process. So there is no end. It's not a destination, right? As Jatin said, dating back to 2011 is when we incorporated Invent India. Today we are in what, 2023, so almost like 12, 13 years. We started from the basement of our house. And when we kept the name Invent India, a lot of people said, it is not going to work because India doesn't invent, we only copy. So with that in our mind, we were like, it is like a slap on our face that our nation is only knowing for copying, imitating, and innovation and invention was nowhere on the cards. Atmanirbhar Bharat happened much later. So, with that, we started Invent India. The vision was to put India on the global innovation map. From the basement of our house, it was just 2 people. Slowly, we scaled up to 10 people. Today, we are a team of 72 people, which is industrial designers, electronic engineers, mechanical engineers. We export design services to around 20 countries, which is USA, Canada, New Zealand. UAE is opening up in a big way, Australia, and we do end-to-end product design. What we realized over the years was wherever we stopped with the startup stopped there, because they didn't know, because what we were doing was product development, which is not SaaS, which is not e-commerce. We were doing hardcore, tangible products, and the ecosystem was not developed for that. Parallelly, what we also did was we were filing a lot of patents for our clients because we wanted to inspire people to do patentable, disruptive products instead of just value engineering or copy products. So we also did, because this journey is very tough. The hardware journey is very tough. Anybody here who is a hardware startup will realize, connecting all the dots, joining all the pieces, the import, export, the FEMA compliances, and the way the government works, it is not easy. So what we also did was we started investing 20% of our profits into our own patents and our own products, so that someday at least a few Indians can invent, design, and export products of Indian origin to the world. And that was the genesis of On to Cook. We have been working on this product for almost 10 years. We raised 17 crores at a valuation of 100 crores just 6 months back, but it has been a 10, 11 years long journey.
Wow.
So I think as we move along, I'll share more.
Yep, and it was featured in Shark Tank India also.
Oh yes, it was, I would say it was ridiculed in Shark Tank India, but yeah, the support was enormous after Shark Tank, and the whole world knows the story beyond that. So.
Okay, awesome. Nikita, brief about you, Tatkal Lorry, at what stage you are in now. Acha, we'll do this. Everyone together. Big round of applause.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikita Maheshwari, CEO and co-founder of Tatkal Lorry Private Limited. So Tatkal Lorry started on the basis of a failure which happened about 7 years back, which is, like Jatin initially mentioned, formerly Tile Bazaar. I'll keep the story short. I am a lawyer, a graduate from Gujarat National Law University, and I decided to pursue entrepreneurship, joined EDI. While pursuing my master's, I started my first company, which was tilebazaar.com. Primarily in 2015, there was a boom of tech startups. सब कुछ online बिकता था, right? So that is when I thought tiles की online नहीं बिक सकती. Tiles इसलिए सोचा because India back then was the 3rd largest producer of tiles in the world. Today we are the 2nd largest producer of tiles in the world. We beat China in terms of quality, and we can compete with Italy in terms of design. And most of that production comes from a really small town called Morbi, which is near Rajkot, spread across a periphery of 50 kilometers. It houses more than 1,500 factories of just tiles. Then there's sanitary, plywood, laminate, so on and so forth. And hence a very small thing, कि tiles का Flipkart बनाएंगे. Me and my brother, I was 22, my brother was 17, average age of 19.5. दुनिया बदलने चले हैं. And that's what we thought. However, where we failed was when you're trying to create a Flipkart, it's really important that you have an e-cart, or if you're an Amazon, you have something called as Express Bees, और शिप रॉकेट. टाइल इंडस्ट्री में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, कोई एक टाइल इधर से उधर मूव नहीं करेगा. And that's exactly why we failed in 2016. And we were very young to comprehend this massive breakup and failure. But we had too much research and data on our hand to let it go to waste. And because naya khoon, jazbaat and everything, we went to our father and said कि यार पापा अभी इसको waste नहीं जाने देंगे. So we did not make the mistakes that we made mistakes in Tile Bazaar, and we asked for help. That was, Papa, from your network, get us someone who understands tiles logistics. And that's how we met our partners, and that's how Tatkal Lorry started. So Tatkal Lorry is 7 years old. We're a bootstrapped company entirely. We're a tight team of 20 odd people. We work on a franchisee model. We work in 13 cities of the country, and 6 of them are major cities like Bangalore, Pune, Ahmedabad, Baroda, Surat, Bombay. We will shortly expand to Hyderabad, Chennai, and Delhi. So yeah, that's about us. We have faced everything from COVID to All India SOP change, which is e-way and GST. And then we have faced the All India strikes, we faced the demonetization, you name it, and we have faced it. And we have survived 6 years, and I think we're pretty much now on our growing stage, and we'll probably break even this year. So yeah, that's about us. Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome. So I will continue to ask them few questions and we'll open up for everyone. एक तो growth stories की बात है, लेकिन एक और question कि ज्योति आपने बताया कि initially अभी भी बहुत सारे लोगों को लग रहा है कि इंडिया में बहुत सारा innovation हो रहा है क्या? So when you were starting up, what were those initial breakthrough projects for you? Or how did you get them? Initially, somebody took a chance on you, or you reached out to certain set of people saying that we could build this for you, and you have to convince them. What was that story like?
So both me and my husband had a lot of credibility. We both had worked in corporates for 12 years. So first, that decision of resigning from a high-paying job and taking the plunge and risking everything. And especially, 2011, I had my first daughter. 2012, I had my second daughter. So people used to feel this lady never delivers. She's perennially pregnant. Going through all that. And till today, Jatin, we don't have a business development team.
Okay.
We don't have a single guy in business development. Whatever work we do, whether it is global or domestic, everything comes through word of mouth because it is so niche that there are hardly any players. So we had a competitive edge there. Second, how we got our first clients initially, when you start, we took everything possible to build a credible portfolio. Small projects, big projects, domestic projects, startups, individual inventors, mid-sized companies, whatever country the business was coming from. We did not negotiate much because we really wanted to build a good, credible portfolio. It is only, once we had these 20, 30 products across various verticals, we had a team in place, processes in place, we started raising our ticket sizes a little. And today we are even doing projects worth $200,000, which is like end-to-end product design, 30 to 40% move into tooling and production. And that's the ratio. Now, as far as your question goes, the initial clients usually came from our past relationships or word of mouth, people who knew us as people, and who knew our work, what we had done previously, and we stood. There were startups who could not pay us, but we ensured their product gets commercialized and reached the market. They could not pay us for 2 years. Some of them paid us after 6 years. It is absolutely antagonistic to business sense. And I mean, me and my co-founder also had a lot of discussions, how long can we keep supporting? But believe me, if you support people, of course you get the vibe, whether that person is genuinely not in a position to pay or he's exploiting you. So learn to filter the two and stand by your clients, come what may. If you feel he's a genuine person or a startup who is wanting to change the world, try and support as much as you can and they will come back and pay you. They paid us. We are still doing the 10th product with them. They have raised $6 million. And I'm very proud to say those relationships really worked. And they referred more and more clients to us.
Yep, awesome. Nikita, आपने बताया कि वो टाइल्स बाजार वाला बिजनेस था. So, story सुनने में अच्छी लगती है, but while you were going through, it would have been very challenging. and then you thought के logistics वाला piece we could build it. So what was the transition like? फिर वो time पे financial management कैसे करने का? You had a savings from earlier business. You now decided, okay, we'll pivot to this business, or what was that transition like for you?
So honestly speaking, when a business doesn't work, especially a first business where you're as young as 22 and 17, and there's like your all of it, right? And it doesn't work. It's 10x a breakup, or probably worse, right? So that transition is very hard, especially if you're studying. So I was in my second year of MBA, and Shikhar had just started pursuing his JEE and for his graduation. So obviously in the first company, our father had invested money. So we essentially felt very bad that we have lost. It was not a huge amount, but it was still an amount which we lost without giving any return to our own father, which was very hurtful. So that is exactly what we were like. If we need to build something with the data that is available to us into something better, greater, and which will make more impact. And so there was no time to cry about it. It was time to act on it. And that's something I always go by. If there's a problem, you have to act on it. You cannot keep on brooding over it that, oh, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. Take anything that you have, read, research, the numbers will show you a way out. That's a very personal takeaway from the entire incident. The second thing that we decided was that we will not make the mistakes that we did in Tile Bazaar. So I come from a white collar industry entirely, and no matter what, tiles is a lot related to real estate, right? Which works somewhat in a blue collared way. And so we had no experience to deal with it. They were not ready to become a tech heavy company, right? And so you build your product around your customers and not a product that you want to make. That was the first learning, and that's what we used in Tatkal Lorry. We went ahead and spoke to people what they would want and what is the problem that they're facing with logistics. So that distracts you from the failure that you just had. The second mistake that we tried making was get in people who have the network. Like Jyoti very rightly said, there are only two ways to enter or break through a market. Use your relations or do massive marketing. We did not have the money to do massive marketing. We were not a tech company. Nobody was ready to fund us also. They thought, oh, another startup in the game. That's all. That's it. That was our image. So we decided to get someone who has been in the logistics industry. We used his reference, and that's how we got our first client. And from that, I understood one thing very clear. Customer money is the best money. Of course, there'll be losses and you'll have to put in, but it still is a better way because you learn so many things. The third, and how did we manage the finances? We were very honest with our partners, and we told them that, look at us, we are very young, we won't be able to pay. So it's been 7 years, and I'm still paying my capital share from my salary. So that's how I managed my finances. And during COVID, of course, my husband and my father helped a lot. So yeah, that's
and
how.
Your mother also?
Yeah, she's been there.
She's here.
She's the chabi, So my wonderful mother has come here today. She's very kind. Thank you, Mama. But yeah, so essentially seek help. People will help you out, and relationships work. They do. That's what builds a business. So you stick by clients. ऐसे client होते हैं जो आपको पैसा नहीं देंगे अभी,
Okay.
but they eventually will give.
Now we'll get to the meat of this business, the growth stories. Acha, we'll clap. So as an entrepreneur, you have to make choices, and there are certain choices you make that changes the trajectory of your business. So Jyoti, in your case, if you reflect on your journey, what were those key choices that you made that really changed the trajectory? And what was the dilemma that you went through before making those choices? Like investing some time on creating your own product, was that or anything that you could think through?
So we were creating too many parallel products, and because we still have that vision of filing patents. So obviously when you divide your profits and invest them into your own products, and there are 4 or 5 of them, so you can't give the same growth to your people, right? Because you're investing your profits back in your business to do your own products. But then that's a bet that you take, you know, which product do you want to take ahead, and we betted on to cook. So that was one key choice that we made. We have a second one coming. We hope to raise funds for that very soon as well. Third is, you know, the ticket size part of it. At some stage, you have to decide that you want to stop taking low ticket size projects. And also, one of the key choices was, as Nikita also said, relationships are very important, right? But filtering those relationships is also very important. There are some toxic clients. So there are clients who will not pay you, but will not disturb the energy of your people and your organization and help you in your growth. There are number two, the clients who will not pay you, but also disturb the energy and suck you, right? So those are toxic clients. So a key choice is to filter those clients and remove them who are driving your teams crazy. So as leaders, step in and draw those filters, protect your team, right? Obviously the team, the deliverables, that goes without saying, the team is performing their job well, right? And the third is who do neither. It's like a never-ending scope who kind of exploit you to any level, and because you're a startup, you're small, they feel, you know, they'll not pay you also, and they'll keep demanding work also. So I think filtering those things really are key choices for your business. Second is the people. You know, people also negotiate as teams. I'm sure all of you are how to retain the talent. The appraisal time is a nightmare for most founders. So how do you take care of your people? What kind of incentive plans, your processes? And I think all of those are key choices.
Okay, awesome. I'll keep on asking them questions, but आप में से किसी को question हो तो? Anyone would like to ask a question? Yes. Just a sec, mic आ रहा है. हाँ ए रिकॉर्ड भी हो रहा है तो फ्यूचर जनरेशन के लिए भी काम में लगेगा यस अच्छा लास्ट ट्राई था अभी नहीं आया तो जोर से बोलना
Okay. Hello. हाँ.
यस
So when you made a switch from Tile Bazaar to Tatkal Lorry, so you had the same team or you built a new team?
I built a new team from ground up.
Okay. So
There
how
was-
were you able to, let's say, being a startup founder, you face the challenges that के लोगों को भरोसा नहीं आता. How were you able to convince them के to align with your vision?
Customers की बात कर रहे हो?
No, the employees,
Team members.
the team.
Okay, so that is a tricky part, especially if you don't have any work experience ever. That's where आपको बेवकूफ़ बनाया जा सकता है लंबे वक्त तक, right? So because I lacked that, believe it or not, I've changed the entire team of Tatkal Lorry 4 times. Today is the team I absolutely love, adore, and want them with me to grow. As a leader, even I evolved. I understood what are my needs and what is the organization's need. Nikita Maheshwari is not the boss. Tatkal Lorry is the boss, right? So when your organization demands certain ways, you have to look for those teams. Number 2, when you cannot pay a lot, which bootstrap startups can't, there is a very important thing that you can do is build good relationship with your employees. That essentially means कि उनकी निजी जिंदगी में धगल नहीं देना आपको, पर उनको ज़रूरत हो तब आपको खड़े रहना है. That also means sometimes अगर आपको उनको एडवांस देना पड़े तो आपको देना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि वो तब वो डिले सहेंगे जब आपकी कंपनी अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकती. तब वो 1.5 महीने, 1.25 महीने की साइकिल में सैलरी उठाएंगे, पर उनको ज़रूरत हो तो आपको एडवांस देना पड़ेगा. It's a very small example, but that's how you build a relationship. Keep it professional, yet be personal.
Okay.
So it's a very leadership game as well.
Yep. Anyone has any questions? Pass on the mic, please. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. So, like you stated that you started at a very young age. So, what would you advise to the young generation, like people like us? We should start early, or we should get some experience at a corporate and then we should start?
I think every entrepreneur you'll meet, they'll say start early, fail better.
Why would
Stand
you
up
say
again. Because जब हम छोटे होते हैं हमारी जिम्मेदारियां कम होती है और हमें रेजिलियंस बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. Have you ever seen a baby?
Yeah.
If a baby gets admitted, no, fourth day पे उसका स्लाइन हटाओगे ना वो नाचेगा. I mean, I'm giving you this example from a very personal experience of my niece. She was admitted last week, and within the fourth day she was up. So when you're younger, you don't dwell upon a lot, and you're like, "Arey, koi nahi, we'll get up, we'll do it." The age is also on your side. You don't have the responsibilities to take care of a family, a child. You ask Jyoti, वो रहता है, right?
Yes, I'll ask Jyoti to give a full length answer to
So
it.
that's a very personal thing that I would say कि start early, fail better, because you will fail. That's just written, right? Because आपको नहीं आता है, कोई सिखाने वाला भी नहीं होता है, तो इसलिए.
Okay,
Thank
Jyoti,
you,
what's
ma'am.
your take on that?
So I think we started at the age of almost 34, 35, right? And my husband was 40, and we had like 10 to 12 years of corporate experience. So there's no magic mantra. Whatever time, entrepreneurship is very different from your corporate experience. It's just that you have a lot of experiences as a part of your employee journey. So you're able to understand your employees much better. Right, so that experience really helps because we had gone through certain experiences, both me and my husband, and we ensured that the employees don't go through the same. That's one. So you are more humane in dealing with your teams. Number two, as Nikita said, of course, when you start late and you're raising families in office, outside office, at home, it's very difficult for you to risk a lot. Right? Because you've already risked your careers and you are back in this game. And now again stopping and going back when you are 40, 45 becomes very, very difficult. So we almost had no options to look back and go back or think whether this will work or not work. So the only word was persist, perseverance, passion. Just keep going forward, whatever time it takes. And it took time. It did take time because it was a hard journey also in some sense.
Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome. Anyone else has a question? Specific question. Let him ask and then we'll come back to your. Acha, you ask, please.
Just I hear lot many times, not here only from her, that she has a startup or she thinks of a startup. What is a startup?
Okay, what is startup? One line answer. We'll not do to and fro. You answer, and then we move on to the next person.
So for me, startup is anything that you want to do which is incremental or disruptive. Okay, any space, any sector, any vertical, right, where you want to build a team and you have a vision. But even as a startup, the 4 things that are most important, which I always tell, is your people, your process, your payments, and your product. And that's what builds a startup. These 4 keys, if you have it in place, you are done.
Okay. Nikita, you want to answer? Or? Please.
So I have a question to you, Ms. Jyoti. Research and development and product innovation are very expensive from a profitability perspective. कि मुझे पैसा X amount of profit आता है तो मैं how much amount I should कि मुझे innovation में डालना चाहिए. I want to understand your perspective on profitability or innovation. कैसे इनको balance रखें?
So we were playing a very high risk game. See, even today we don't know whether the product that we are launching, whether it will be successful or not. In our head, we feel we'll be very successful. The response is still amazing. The response is very amazing. The leads that we have. But till the time we appeared in Shark Tank, I don't know how many of you have seen that episode of Shark Tank, where we launched On to Cook, the fastest cooking device. It was the grand finale episode, if you've seen it, right? So according to the sharks, it will not work. Right, and after that, the kind of support that we received from the restaurants, so we can bake a cake in 4 minutes, we can do biryani in 6 minutes, we can do chicken in 7 minutes. It's revolutionary, right, in some sense. So B2B, the kind of response that we are getting is just amazing, and we could raise funds, right? As far as your profits go, so see, somewhere you have to ensure that you're paying your salaries, right? You are getting some growth and you're doing whatever your investments are right. For us, we decided at some point that 20% of our profits we are going to invest back. And we had some calculations in our head that whether it is across 3 products, 2 products. So we personally invested around 4 to 5 crores even before going into Shark Tank on this product. Right? So I think risk is a very, very personal thing.
Okay, and when you talk about scaling up businesses, you talk about scaling up teams. You as an individual leader, you have to grow yourself and you have to build a management team apart from the founders. So Jyoti,
absolutely.
in your case, how did you go about it?
Absolutely. You have to build teams. If you want to scale, you need to have some core team members right in place. Otherwise, scale is impossible. So whether it is your operations, your marketing, I mean, finance. Yes. Yeah. So each of those aspects in your business is very important, and you need people who will lead those functions for you, right? You can wear different hats initially, but slowly as you want to scale, you need support. So one of the suggestions is when you're looking for a co-founder, if you don't have one or if you have, तो वो college में जो दोस्त मिल जाते हैं ना कि दोनों को एक ही चीज पसंद है, let's start this. I mean, try and look for complementary and supplementary skills. That always works better. I mean, that's what has helped us scale, because my husband was very good at something and I was good at everything else. And together we formed a very, very solid complementary, supplementary team and took care of everything.
So Jyoti, in your case, what is that thing that you consciously had to work hard to grow as a leader? Any one particular skill set that?
So when you're working with creative teams, everything is agile. There is no process. They are just working and spread very thin everywhere because they want to do everything. They feel they can do everything. I don't know how many of you work with designers. So every day it's a new brief. Even if the client is not changing, the team internally is changing the brief. So having those processes, the documentations, and even the payments, the finances, and the SOPs clear, whether they follow them, not follow them, it took me a lot of time to put all of them into place to ensure that the scale happens. Otherwise, the scale will not happen.
And creating a leadership team within your organization. So in your case, do people who are working with you, they agree to be a leaders, or you have to bring outside talent to take up a leadership role in the organization? What has happened at your place?
I think it totally depends on the kind of role. So if you have people within your organization who want to expand or go up the vertical or take horizontal expansion of their roles, we have. In fact, what we have also done is we always try to create micro entrepreneurs within the organization. So it is like if you generate a certain amount of profit and take complete ownership of it, a percentage of that net profit goes to you without any ceiling. So because, the millennials are very, very different. They don't want to stick to a job. 2 years, and I mean, these days when I interview people, they said, ma'am, stability hai, to see 3 saal kaam kiya humne ek organization. So 3 years is like too much for them. So 3 years, 2 years, I'm sure if you all are founders, you experience the way people switch jobs, 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 3,000 increment, you give it. Otherwise, I'm moving to the next block. Because there are too many startups, too many options. Startup hi to hai, next wale mein kaam karenge. So that loyalty, how do you retain your people is, you have these, one is of course the culture that you build within the organization. Second is the incentive schemes that you draw up for your people. So they become very, very important. They need to have a shared vision with you and align themselves with the whole vision that the organization have.
Okay. Nikita, in your case, what did you have to learn consciously to get better as a leader?
I think I had major anger issues, which ultimately affected my culture. So, very small thing. अगर मैं चिड़चिड़ाती थी तो मैं स्टाफ पे निकालती थी, स्टाफ कस्टमर पे निकालता था, कस्टमर आगे निकालता था, वो अल्टीमेटली अफेक्ट करता है. So, I consciously had to work on my behavior in terms of getting better and doing better by the people I am, because no matter how young I was at a leadership position where they look up to me. So that's this, behavioral issue. And the other thing, the skill that I had to learn was finance. I was not good at it, to be very honest. I had to sit down with my no job experience, nothing, no work experience. And law में BCom नाम होता है, पढ़ना में नहीं आता है इतना. So and especially if you do it practically, it's an altogether different ball game, right? So I had to sit down and learn everything on the job, from using Excel to learning to use Tally to everything. Primarily, I did this because so that someone should not make me stupid और कोई मुझे चला नहीं दे. मुझे पता होना चाहिए कि भाई ये काम ऐसे होता है. And thirdly, when it is a small team, and because you cannot hire very well qualified and professionals, you need to know what happens. They should know that if they are not there, the organization is not going to stop working. It's an organization. It will continue to work no matter if it's a 5 people team, it's a 20 people team, or it's a 70 people team. कोई employee आप पे हावी नहीं हो सकता. These are skill I had to learn over a period of time.
Okay, we'll open up for questions. Anyone has any questions? Mike Vasan करिए.
Hello. Yeah, so you guys have a long entrepreneurial journey, right? And we are talking about growth here. But there might be a phase in your life where rather than focusing on the growth, you were focusing on the sustainability, right? So sustainability, right? So any experience or any learning you can share with us?
So by default, that is the default state. Growth वाला अचानक आता है कि
Say that.
Yeah, मतलब
Sustainability is also a continuous journey.
you have to sustain to take the growth, है ना?
So
मतलब
वो
अगर
default state है. Why every day you are figuring out sustaining?
कि आप सस्टेन नहीं करोगे तो आप बूटस्ट्रैप्ड हैं, जैसे हम दोनों ही शायद बूटस्ट्रैप्ड ही थे.
She mentioned 17 crores and 100 crore value.
अब for the longest time you were bootstrapped, right? 8 years or so, right? So आपको सैलरीज पे करनी है, आपको साइकिल चलाना, स्पेशली ये तो बहुत कैपिटल इंटेंसिव बिजनेस है. मेरा तो सर्विस था फिर भी. आई स्टिल हैव अ रेगुलर फ्लो ऑफ मनी कमिंग इन in that also I have to make sure that I'm sustaining. Even in growth stage आपको अपनी sustainability break even तो figure out करना ही पड़ता है.
Okay, we move on to the next question. Mike पसंद करिए. Yes sir.
मेरा क्वेश्चन निकिता जी आपसे है. एक्चुअली जैसे आपने बताया वैसे परफॉर्मेंस प्रेशर्स जो आपने पास्ट में एक्सपीरियंस किया है उसके कारण शायद गुस्सा अभी तक कंटिन्यू हो या डर हो, उसका रिजल्ट करंट इफेक्ट पे आता हो, तो आप कैसे मैनेज करते हो?
It's a very recent incident. Sometimes there's too much pressure. As a leader you have to learn कि आपके चेहरे पे शिकन नहीं है. Because ultimately your business is the boss. You're at a management position and there are people under you. आप घबराओगे तो सब घबराते हैं क्योंकि आपकी especially bootstrap companies, especially like mine, we're very close. All of us know what everyone is doing. Even though there are SOPs and systems in place, everyone is very well connected to all the departments. So the word travels like this. How to do it? It comes with a lot of sitting with my own self. Ki what did I do wrong today? It's very recent experiences that I was rude to one of my employees. I apologized. There was no pedestal that oh my boss हूँ मैं apologize नहीं. I was unreasonable. I was wrong. आप परफॉर्मेंस के लिए लड़ सकते हो, आप बदतमीजी को जस्टिफाई नहीं कर सकते. और बदतमीजी अगर आपने करी है तो आप जाके प्लीज उस इंसान से अपोलोजाइज कीजिए. उधर कोई पेडेस्टल नहीं आता है, उधर कोई लेवल नहीं आता है. आपने इंसान से बदतमीजी करी. परफॉर्मेंस, KRAs, उनका आउटपुट जी भर के लड़िए और अगर आप वो करेंगे तो वो आपकी इज्जत भी करेंगे. So it's a very to and fro process. You have to create a culture like that. It is open, warm, but very performance oriented.
इन शॉर्ट बिजनेस को अलग रख के आप जैसे आप इंजन हो बिजनेस को ड्राइव करने का, सो इंजन में थोड़ा बहुत सर्विस और रिपेयरिंग करके बिजनेस को ग्रो कर रहे हो. दैट इज द सिंपल.
Company is the boss, not you, not me.
Perfect.
That's it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Sir, you want to ask a question? Mic use कर लीजिए.
Good evening. So my question is, when we are bootstrapping the company, there is always a constraint related to finance. Either we are putting our money, we are getting it from our friends, family. So what should be the good time when we decide that now we need to scale up? And the second question is that the initial team members, probably they are the closed one, close of your friends, probably your colleagues who have put trust on you, and they have shared your vision. So they are helping you to build your product, company, but that is up to the scaled time. Once you are scaling up, then there may be a special skills required. You need a different kind of people. So what should we do for our initial team members to give them a better opportunity, better career, and how can we take along them with our vision?
Okay. दो क्वेश्चन है तो वन डिवाइड कर लीजिए. So Jyoti, you take up the first one. Bootstrap, when do you think about scaling up? You went through that transition.
So for us, it was very simple. We have a services company which is still bootstrapped. There are no funds raised. It's profitable. And because it is services, it has to be profitable, right? But because we were investing in our own products, at some point of time to ensure that that baby grows. And when you are doing, again, a product like that, beyond a certain stage, you need external funds. So for us, it was a clear deciding factor. We have invested 4-5 crores and we have taken around 7, 8, 9 years to reach to the functional prototype level. Now, if we have to get into tooling, production, manufacturing, and the samples, and then start doing the whole growth journey of marketing, we need external finance. So that was a deciding factor for us. And bootstrapping would not have helped the product scale at all. We would have just, sat with the prototype for life.
So is it something that once we have something as a MVP or prototype, that's the time to scale up? Or after we find some initial customers, then we can make a decision to scale up?
I think if you're confident about your product and if you have a functional MVP and if you can see a clear market segment, it's a good enough stage to raise funds. Because before that, if you try to do that, you might either not be able to find an investor, convince an investor, or you might have to shell out a lot of your equity. So it's a wise decision to at least reach certain stage. If you can find some customers, again, if it is software and if it is SaaS, it is good to find some customers because there you're not investing so much. In our case, we had no choice. We had to raise because we had to invest the next level 10 crores in the tooling production cycle.
Okay. Nikita, you remember the second question?
कि अपनी टीम को आगे कैसे लेके जा सकते हैं.
अच्छा, we'll not do to and fro. She will answer and then we'll move on to the next question.
Okay. So Jyoti initially mentioned that find a co-founder who has complementary skills. I always say that finding a co-founder is like being in a marriage. It has to be complementary and supplementary. If you don't know something, they have to cover up for you, right? And be shameless about it. Ask and get co-founders like that only. Because that is how सारा बोझ आप अपने सर पे लेके नहीं चलोगे क्योंकि सारा बोझ कब तक चला पाओगे. दिन में 8 ही घंटे होते हैं जब आप एफिशिएंट होते हो, ठीक है. सेकेंड थिंग इज विच पीपल एंड टीम्स टू टेक अहेड विथ यू. ज्योति ने आंसर पहले जेन्युइनली बहुत अच्छे से किया था. दैट incentivize them, give them profit. Millennial wants a share of the profits. If they're getting something, if they're saving your money, be okay with parting that some substance of it, like some part of it, right? सबको पैसा कमाना है, पैसे कमाने का जरिया देना as a leader आपका कर्तव्य है, is the word I'll use, right? Because they're working for you, because they believe in your vision, and that is why they will work hard and achieve the output you want. That's number one. So जो लोग ये कर रहे हैं, and you'll find those people. Second, I personally prefer sincerity over skill in the mid-level, right? Sincerity goes a long way. At the upper level, you will need people with skill. You will need professional people in place. But make sure that your SOPs are in place, your KRAs are in place, your team is tight. तो जब आप upper level आओगे ना, तो growth बहुत तेजी से आती है. क्योंकि नीचे का क्लियर है, नीचे का x हो रहा है, y होगा, y हो रहा है, z होगा, z होगा, a होगा. जब वो प्रोसेस क्लियर होता है तो जब आप अपर लेवल में किसी को CEO लाते हो, COO लाते हो, वो एक किक मारेगा और गोल होएगा.
Okay.
So that's how I would suggest.
Awesome. 7:15. 15 minutes में we will end this panel, then we'll open up for everyone. So try to give 1 or 2 line answers so that we can cover more questions. Anyone has any questions? Yes.
as you mentioned that, you are into multiple products, Jyoti, right? So how do you decide like what to invent? Like, because invention is not an easy game and you are into multiple products, right? And as you rightly said that India ko is a copycat ही बोला जाता है. So, I mean, how do you decide? क्योंकि invention is not an easy game, right? तो multiple products में कैसे spread हो रहा है वो knowledge and,
So at any given point of time, I'm doing 30 to 40 projects for my clients, which is in the services business. And these projects are across FMCG, medical devices, security and surveillance cameras, baby bottle products. We do like ECG machines, wireless machines, wearables, whatever you can think of, right? What we also do is we try and identify problems from our daily life and from our team's experiences. As I said, it is a high risk game. We don't know whether each idea that we are working on will work. Does it even make sense or not? But we have this matrix of FBM, which is faster, better, more. So if you are inventing anything, if it is faster than what already exists, if it is better than what already exists, and if it gives you more than what already exists. For example, if I talk of On2Cook, it is faster, it is better because it is cost saving, it is energy efficient, it saves 70% of your time in cooking, right? And it gives you more nutritive food, which is proven now by lab tests and report. So those are the criteria whenever you're working on a new product or a new idea. We evaluate, that's our primary evaluation matrix. It has to be at least, high on 2 of those parameters, and then it's a no-brainer.
Okay, and there is a lot of discussion about having mentors in life or business, or do you have mentors, or not necessarily you label them as a mentor, but what is your support system?
So for Invent India, we didn't have any mentors because I think in fact, we mentor a lot of people. But for On2Cook, yeah, it's a shift in the mindset because now we are in the product game and it's not the services game anymore. And products is something, or even if it's a new invention, but it's the same market segmentations, the same growth strategies and marketing strategies, B2B, B2C. So a lot of tried and tested games. And obviously now we have taken somebody else's money. So we are more responsible because we have to give him an exit and he's already looking at a high return and the next round of valuation. We are in that valuation game. So there we are much more cognizant of what we are doing and how we are using the funds, and we have mentors.
Okay, so how do you get them? How do you get the best out of mentors?
Listen to them. Listen to them. We have our weekly meetings. We have our fortnightly meetings with them. We kind of minute it. And once we decide, again, it's a creative team. So we decide something, we're out of the room. And the mind changes. No, B2B to theek hai, but B2C bhi kar sakte hai na. So, and the same goes for, एक product बना रहे दूसरा वर्जन पे भी तो काम कर सकते हैं ना अभी साथ में. So you have to take those concrete decisions and listen to your mentor because they're saying whatever they're saying from their experience, and probably whatever you want to negotiate in the meeting with the mentor. But once you take a decision, okay, I'm going to stick to this market segment, try and stick to it. So.
Yep. Nikita, do you have mentors, or and who?
I'm very lucky. My father is my mentor. Really got lucky there, honestly speaking. So him of course, and then I met a few people during the journey of the entrepreneur, and you meet them and you speak to them at least once in 3 months or 6 months at least. Even if it's not about product, it's just about how would you want to go about. The mentors game, especially not in terms of investors, but a mentor's game is more to help you decide, not take a decision for you. Okay. So that's how my mentors have helped me a lot.
Okay, last 10 minutes. And those of you who attended ECHI events, you will know those line of questions that I'll be asking. What is that one thing you feel, Jyoti, you could have done little differently in your journey? यार ये थोड़ा अलग कर दिया होता तो मजा आ जाता.
I think starting ESOPs much early and creating micro entrepreneurs much early would have really helped us retaining our core team. We lost a few members initially because they wanted to go to Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, or maybe even go abroad to do their masters, which we tried later, and we could retain much more people. So that is one. Second is the processes part of it. We did it much later, boxing the clients, those filtering of clients that I'm talking about, that is like first-hand experience.
Yep. Nikita, what do you think you could have done little different?
So for my revenue model, if I would have shifted to franchisee model much earlier, in terms of not having my own branches, but a franchisee model would have played a very, very different role how Tatkal Lorry would have looked today. So that's something I work on.
And you were at the launch of that Vande Bharat train with Prime Minister. So क्या discuss हुआ था?
He was very kind. He knew about me, which was very sweet of him. We discussed about how we can use railways as a medium for transportation, and if I can identify the 2-3 clusters in India which have huge consumption of tiles, and if I could write to him, he would start trains to go there.
And then what happened?
I haven't done the research.
Okay. Jyoti, you have a services business. Now, then you experiment with some products. अभी एक product बहुत बड़ा hit हो गया. तो भी वो mental थोड़ा आ जाता है कि यार इस पे तो बहुत बड़ा काम करना पड़ेगा. So then you'll have to stop your experimental phase and focus on building this.
Yeah, that's very tough for us because experiment is in our DNA. R&D is what we live on. So yeah, so stopping and telling ourselves, no, consciously we have to now focus here and work here. And so we are creating teams. As you asked a question, at what stage do you have? So we are now hiring a CMO, we are hiring a CEO, we are hiring a CFO also for the funded company. And the services company is moving, and there are resources who are moving from one company to another. There has been transfers, transitions. So yeah, that's the journey that we are taking.
और एक business और startup की बात होती है तो बहुत सारे set notions होते हैं कि ऐसा ही होता है. So in your case, when you were starting up, बहुत सारा नया नया होगा कि ऐसा ही होता है. But when you actually build your business, आपके केस में वो particular चीज़ नहीं हुई. What was that?
यार हमारे केस में तो ना लोग समझते ही रह जाते थे हम करते क्या है. They fail to understand. Office आके people used to go crazy, mad. What do you guys do? They could not understand. वहाँ पे लोग बैठ के थर्मोकोल घिस रहे होते हैं, फॉर्म डिज़ाइन कर रहे होते हैं, दूसरी जगह असेंबली हो रही है. 3D प्रिंटिंग उस टाइम पे लोगों को समझ नहीं आता था, बहुत पहले शुरू कर दिया था. लेज़र कटिंग एक जगह चल रही है. R&D लैब में लोग वो like in those वो पोस्टेड लगा के रिसर्च चल रही है. कोई वेरिएबल कर रहा है, कोई बायोमेट्रिक डिवाइस कर रहा है. So it was very, very different, but very niche. So only we could understand what we are doing, and we had to really, really explain the whole end-to-end process to the client up to production tooling and how a product is actually developed.
Okay. निकिता, आपके केस में ऐसा कुछ हुआ कि लोगों ने बोला ऐसा होता है, लेकिन आपने जब बिजनेस बिल्ड किया तो ऐसा नहीं हुआ?
ऐसा होता है तो नहीं, पर मतलब they were more like ऐसा हो नहीं सकता है. Which is like delivery within Gujarat in 24 hours, even if that's just one box. So that was the thing that we figured out कि अच्छा ऐसे करेंगे, पर आप इतना पैसा दो.
Okay. और we talk about books, movies, podcast. अभी podcast बहुत चलते हैं. So do you कोई ऐसा कोई podcast, movie या book है that had an impact in your entrepreneurial journey कि ये book पढ़ा मेरा life change हो गया? नहीं ऐसा कुछ that had a lasting impact in your what you have?
Share a very recent. I saw this Netflix पे series आया The Romantics करके. उसमें I saw Aditya Chopra's vision for the Yash Raj films, and that has changed my perspective. Very recent. I would urge everyone to go and see The Romantics from a very entrepreneurial perspective, especially from episode 2.
Okay. Netflix के साथ partnership करनी पड़ेगी. Shout out हो गया उनका. Jyoti, in your case, any book, podcast?
So I am a very voracious reader. Yeah. And also I watch a lot of videos, motivational videos. So Brendan Burchard, if you want to see his videos, he's a coach and trainer, and he does trainings on goal setting. Amazing videos. Amongst the books, The Power of Subconscious and The Power of Now are the two books that I really, really admire and love. Recently, there was this documentary on Netflix, I think, again, something which everybody should watch, which is the downfall of Boeing. Yes. Yeah. It is amazing. It is the shift from a design perspective and focusing on design to completely numbers in stock markets when the management changes and how the company goes down in quality. So I think these are a few.
Okay. So when we do this panel, we have this panelists ask questions to each other. तो हमें पता चलता है smart लोगों को बाकी के smart लोगों से क्या question है. तो Nikita, your question for Jyoti.
When was the moment that you realized that one company cannot be enough to reach the goal that you want to reach of getting India on the, I think, invention pedestal, if I'd say?
So I think it was always a part of the plan to do a lot of products. And obviously when you're doing services, we didn't want to mix the product with it. So right from the beginning, we were very clear, we will take, as you say, the babies to infancy. And beyond that point, they'll have to find another parent who can like fund it, and it can take its own journey, grow, fly, whatever. If it fails, very good. If it succeeds, flies high, very good. But the parent company is always there and growing, nurturing itself.
Okay, awesome.
And generating more babies.
Yep. And Jyoti, your question for Nikita.
So what gave you the strength to start again, you know, as you said, after the first failure?
So I've always been this person who wants to create a legacy. I don't know why. But probably I come from that. My father taught me that. Ki build something that will last beyond you. Like a parent company, right? Which gives birth to more babies. So I have always believed in that, and that's from where my resilience has always worked for me. Ki nahi, okay, ab better hoga. Acha, ye galti hui, isko sudharo. And when you start getting results, I think it works.
And that is something that I follow and I encourage my friends. Outside of your business, what is that some hobby or a passion that you pursue really, really rigorously? Nikita or Jyoti?
I travel, I read. I spend a lot of time with kids. I love kids, so I do a lot for kids. So that's what gives me my energy.
Yes. Nikita?
So I have a group of friends, and some of them are lawyers, some of them are artists, some of them are designers, some of them are entrepreneurs. And spending a lot of time with them gives you a lot of perspective of looking at the same situation and getting better solutions. क्योंकि आप एक जार की तरह ही सोच सकते हो. जब आप खुलते हो तो और लोग आके उसमें input देते हैं. And that helps you looking at the same problem in a very different perspective. So spending time with people who are not from your background, who are not the way you are, who does not have the same routine as you do, helps a lot, a lot.
Okay. और अभी when you started up, the entrepreneurship ecosystem छोटा था, अभी support system बहुत सारा है, तो अभी confusion होता है कि with which support system to invest your time with. So Nikita, if you were to start again, and again, not again, but if you were to start now, with all this experience, how would you approach things now?
In terms of support system, I would actually want to work with people like Jyoti. By that, what I mean is people who have a lot of professional experience and encourage research, curiousness, and have an adaptability towards it, and is not very rigid. This is the shift that I've seen in the last 6 years, even in smaller kids, that they're very curious, they're taught to look at things, right? I had a very rigid thought process. So that is what I would seek from the ecosystem, and it is truly available at our disposal, so why not?
Okay. Jyoti, if you were to start in 23, how would you approach things compared to how you approached when you started up?
I think it's already a lot of chaos. There are too many mentors and there are too many ecosystems. So I would have been dead trying to filter out which is good, which is bad, which is ugly. And a lot of mentors themselves need a lot of mentoring. I'll be very honest. Because there's a lot happening on social media when you actually go to the ground. The numbers are not there. The incubators are struggling. The accelerators are struggling. So we mentor a lot of incubators and accelerators also, including IIT Chennai, NSRCL, IIM Bangalore. So the struggle is very real, right? So I would, if I have to start, I'll just pick up the ones who are doing some real good work and who need a lot of support. And there can be a lot of counter exchange in terms of resources and a shared vision again, which can take the whole economy up instead of just, you know, that small ecosystem.
Okay, and it's an ongoing journey, but if you were to explain your journey in a 1 or 2 word, what is that 1 or 2 word that you could relate with? This roller coaster is taken, so entrepreneurship is a roller coaster journey. But if you were to relate with your entrepreneurial journey,
technology, perseverance, disruption.
Okay. So this was the last question from my side. So we'll give a big round of Nikita, we'll end with this also. You have to have a punch.
Resilience, legacy. I think resilience and legacy is what I'll go with.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll try to play this video if it works. Hi, I'm Jatin Chaudhary. I'm the co-founder of EHI Ventures. EHI Ventures is a global startup network. We host engaging startup growth meetups in 20 plus cities in more than 10 countries. We have chapters in Singapore, Australia, Indonesia, US, Canada, UAE, UK, Estonia, and a lot of other places. We started EHI 13 years back in Ahmedabad, India, but it has grown immensely in the last 4-5 years. We host a lot of interesting programs. EHI Startup Demo Day is an opportunity for early stage startup founders to showcase their ventures in front of a larger network, not necessarily in front of the investors, but in front of the larger community. It helps them get early feedback, early customers, and get introduced to community. We host a lot of startup growth panels as well. Startup growth panels are either sector or theme specific programs where we bring in 3 to 4 experienced founders to share their experiences and insights and interact with the community. Another thing we do is we host EHI Startup Socials. EHI Startup Socials are small, informal gatherings of 10 to 12 folks. EHI Startup Socials are the ones where we actually will be able to build a long-term relationship with other folks. Another thing we have is EHI Sports Leagues. We started with the cricket league. We added other sports also. The founders of EHI met each other while playing cricket in college days. So sports is a big thing in EHI. If you are into sports and you want to connect with other startup folks, then probably you can join some of our sports leagues. EHI has a business partners program. These are the partners with whom we co-host a lot of our meetups. You can check out our partners page to know more about it. We have a lot of founders who invest a lot of their time and energy for creation of EHI experience in their cities. You can check out our About Us page to know more about us. Prahlad leads EHI's Singapore meetups. Megha leads EHI's Delhi NCR chapter. Malav leads our Pune chapter. Manoj leads our Surat chapter. And Marmik leads our Rajkot chapter. And in some other cities, we have a group of folks who help us create an EHI experience in their cities. You would have seen a lot of EHI meetups free and open for all. And that is something that we would always want to be. Unless and until we have to invest a lot of resources, we would always keep all our meetups free and open for all. We always want to tell people that we are one of those good folks to be with. Do check out ehi.ventures to know more about us. In case if you would want to partner or you want to associate as volunteer, you can check out ehi.ventures and. Okay, so we'll clap. So we do a decent scale at this now. There are a lot of startup organizations. EHI is right up there among the best. And if you travel to any of the metros, you will discover our scale in a much bigger way. But we started from Ahmedabad, and we are proud to be from Ahmedabad. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll take a nice group photo. We'll come this side and take a photo from this side. All of you can just shrink this side and we'll take a photo from this side. And before we move, big round for AMA and Communicate Karo team also.